Decision day has arrived. The president is expected to make his decision on the Obama-era Iran nuclear deal that waives sanctions on Iran's energy and banking sectors in exchange for curbs on the country's nuclear program. The decision comes after visits from European allies who have urged the president to fix the deal rather than end the deal. Meanwhile, Iran's president reportedly says that he will continue to have, quote, constructive engagement with the world, regardless of what happens. Joining me right now to talk more about it is the president of the Eurasia Group and the author of Us versus Them, The Failure of Globalism, Ian Bremmer. Ian, great to see you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. The book is now on the New York Times bestseller list.
It is.
Good for you.
Thank you very much.
All right, do you think the president completely pulls out of this deal?
He shouldn't. I think he will. But there are the only sanctions that are due up today are oil sanctions. And the other sanctions, very important, energy sector, shipping, banking, insurance, they don't actually come up until mid-July. So I could easily see President Trump saying, I'm going to leave a window for the next 2 months. And if the Europeans can come back to me with a better deal by then I won't have to actually put these additional sanctions back on the Iranians.
But in doing that, he will basically effectively say the energy sanctions go back in place now.
The oil sanctions.
The oil sanctions.
Absolutely. And that means that oil starts coming off the market.
That would be effectively pulling out of the deal, but a soft pullout, because he's going to look at it again in July, is what you're saying.
Look, I mean, what he's trying to do is the question is he going to use a carrot or a stick with the Europeans to try to get something better? This is a stick. I don't think it's the best way to go. I'd say a carrot. One of Trump's biggest problems is that his allies say he doesn't listen. And you saw that Macron was here, that Merkel was here, that Boris Johnson was just on Fox and Friends as well, making his case yesterday. Yeah. And they're all saying, we don't have a plan B. Give us some time. Yeah. And, it would be so easy for Trump to say this May 12th thing, that's my self-imposed deadlines, but I've heard my allies. I'm going to give them a couple of months. And as a consequence, let's see if they can come and get me something. In the meantime, I'm going to talk to the North Koreans, right? So you're not trying to undermine that relationship. And if they don't come back with anything, he says, I gave him a chance. Yeah. If they do come back with something, he's a hero.
What's the big deal of pulling out? I mean, what are the implications of the pullout? Let's say the European nations do not come with the U.S. and they stay in this deal. How does that look? How does that play out?
First of all, as soon as you leave the deal, you create big recriminations inside Iran, right? So right now, the president of Iran, who ran on, I'm going to make this work, he's the one saying we're still going to behave well with the international community. The hardliners in Iran will use this as an opportunity to immediately beat up the reformers. You see, you never should have signed this deal to begin with.
Yeah, but come on, Ian, they were already saying death to America when the deal was signed.
The deal was small.
We're going to be worried about them saying, oh, yeah, this is a hard line.
No, of course we're not going to be worried. The question is, if your intention is to get to a better place on the deal, then you don't want dynamics where the people that are supporting you are being undermined. Look, Trump is talking to the North Koreans. They're a human concentration camp. Hasn't stopped them from talking to him. You know why? Because the deal doesn't involve human rights. The deal's purely on the nuclear piece. So I think we should allow Obama and Trump to think narrowly. But here's the one thing that I don't understand why they don't talk about it. If we're America first, we're not Israel first, we're not Saudi Arabia first, Trump's America first. The one thing about this deal that actually matters to the average American, it's not them saying death to America. It's oil prices coming down.
Yes.
And this deal done by Obama actually helped destroy OPEC. It brought prices down. The United States is now soon to be the world's largest producer.
They're still working on the nuclear capabilities, and we don't have the effective checks in place. It was more about that than where oil markets are.
2 points. First, Secretary of Defense Mattis, who you and I both think is pretty responsible, has come out repeatedly and publicly and said that actually the Iranians are completely standing up to the implementation of the deal. He certainly would want us to keep it. He's closer to this than Trump is. That should tell us something. But the second point is the average American didn't care that much when Pakistan got nukes, didn't care that much when North Korea got nukes, didn't care all that much about Iran's nuclear program. Care an awful lot about 2,000 Americans in Syria. They'd like to see them back.
Yeah, but they said they want to wipe Israel off the map. I mean, is this the group that you want to have nukes? The same people say they want to wipe Israel off the map and death to America.
Israel has over 100 nuclear weapons. The support that the United States has given to the Israelis is extraordinarily strong. Netanyahu came here and tried to say, I need the deal to go away. He wasn't able to say the Iranians weren't implementing it. Meanwhile, when you talk to senior Israelis in defense, they actually say, don't leave the deal. You're going to leave the United States isolated. So they're saying that, too.
We'll see what happens. I almost feel like the way Trump goes could actually dictate Europe. We'll see. I mean, the U.S. going into this deal in the first place led others into it. People followed the U.S. We'll see if anybody follows the U.S. out. But I got to ask you about China while you're here as well, because that's another pressing issue, the global stage. The president will speak with President Xi. Now they're speaking on the phone.
Literally right now, yes.
The president tweeted this earlier. I will be speaking with my friend, President Xi of China, this morning at 8:30. The primary topics will be trade, where good things will happen, and North Korea, where relationships and trust are building. That's, of course, ahead of these new talks between the White House trade team and their Chinese counterparts last week. We haven't heard anything from what happened in China. What's your take?
I actually feel better about the trajectory right now of Trump's relationship with Xi than I do Trump's relationship with the Europeans.
Wow.
Because he's consistently said that the Chinese have been helping the United States on North Korea. Trump pushed China pretty hard back in the Mar-a-Lago summit. The Chinese, in response, said, we're going to actually implement on these sanctions. We're going to ensure that smuggling doesn't happen. That's what got the North Koreans to the table. So Trump realizes that he gets credit for it, and the Chinese helped him. On trade, he's consistently said that I want to work something out with the Chinese. So he had a headline tough position on all these tariffs, but he's never really wanted to launch into a trade war with the Chinese. I don't think that's going to happen. The only thing I'd caution about is he said, we're going to talk about North Korea, we're talk about trade. Didn't say we're going to talk about technology. And yet technology is the area that Trump so far has taken by far the toughest measures against the Chinese, and where the Chinese, it's Xi Jinping's top priority. They want to be not just a technology superpower, which they are, they want to be the technology superpower by 2025. And the United States...
That means dominating industries like robotics, like AI, all the industries that America believes will be the industries of tomorrow. That's the problem.
And that's a bigger challenge to liberal democracy as a model around the world than really anything else that's facing us right now. It's bigger than Russian cyber.
But you have to believe that there was some goodwill on the part of China helping in terms of North Korea.
Yes.
I call it the chocolate cake moment, when the president told me that he was having chocolate cake with President Xi, and that at that moment during dessert, he says, oh, yeah, we just launched strikes into Syria. That was the beginning of the pressure campaign to make sure China understood the U.S. was serious about this and it needed help. But China did help. The Chinese did help.
Trump had credibility because when he ran for office, he was all about China's horrible. I'm going to beat up on China. These guys are like ripping our faces off. They're eating our breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So you think he could have a victory here?
I think that when he sat down with Xi Jinping in Mar-a-Lago and said, we can do this the hard way, that's what I ran on, but if you help me on North Korea, I'm not going to be as tough on trade, I think that's actually a deal that Xi Jinping felt comfortable with, and we saw them implement. Now, timing was good because the North Koreans were antagonizing the Chinese as well, but I think that in the near term, I don't see Trump and Xi Jinping at each other's throats.
I agree.
Long term, the tech piece is the one I worry about.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great analysis. Ian, it's always great to see you.
Good to see you, Mary.
Thank you so much. Ian Bremmer there. Check out the book, Us versus Them, The Failure of Globalism.